Hey friends! Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be testing and wearing a new concealer. I was at Sephora last week shopping and this caught my eye. It was highlighted on the end cap. I'm not exactly sure when this launched, but it's a newer concealer to make up forever. It is the Matte Velvet Skin High Coverage Concealer. It comes in 22 shades and it retails for $27. I have not even used it or taken it out of the box yet. I picked up the shade 3.1 and I really hope that it's my shade because, as you know, you're not really allowed to test or try or use the testers at Sephora, so it was kind of like a guessing game. So we're going to be applying my makeup. I will be talking about, this concealer, how I see it paying off, pros, cons. We'll be checking in throughout the day, seeing how it wears. So yeah, before we get started, let's kind of run through the 411 on this concealer. Comes in 22 shades. I looked on the website and there are 458 reviews as of last night. And the general consensus is about 4.5 stars. So I'm not exactly sure when this launched. Because there's almost 500 reviews, I assume it's not brand new. It's a 24-hour waterproof concealer with a transfer-proof natural matte finish and breathable full coverage. It conceals, corrects, and contours. So I only picked up one shade, but I do want to kind of test it not only underneath my eyes, but on the face, because that's kind of the whole claim or benefit of this concealer. So I will be using a very small amount of actual foundation, and we'll kind of be using this to more conceal the face. It has a matte finish. It is a liquid. It's great for normal, dry, combination, or oily skin is what they are saying. Let's see. So as far as what else you need to know on Sephora's website, this full coverage blurring concealer is waterproof, sweat-proof, transfer-proof, and delivers 24-hour wear. I don't know that most of us are wearing our makeup for 24 hours. Hey, but if you find that your concealer is kind of shearing out throughout the day, or you feel like by the end of the day your dark circles are coming through, then you probably want something long wearing. So we will put that to the test and see what we think. It's described as having a lightweight and airy texture. It has it actually talks about how the doe foot tip is precision tip, but it's kind of a little bit larger. So it does, yeah. So it is a little bit larger of a doe tip, but it has a point, so you can kind of, they're saying, have more precision over your application. So yeah, let's go ahead and test this out. Let me show you how it looks on the hand. Okay, so this is the shade 3.1. It looks like it's going to be a good shade for me. The texture of it does feel pretty thick, so we will see how this blends out under the eyes, to make sure it doesn't look too heavy. Let me feel this. Yeah, it feels pretty thick and a little, wow, very, very much full coverage. Look at that. Super, super full coverage. So I think we're going to have to probably be very, very light-handed when we get to under the eye area. Okay, so first things first, I do want to prep my under eye area. I did put a little eye cream on this morning, as I always do, but I am going to use the Elemis Absolute Eye Serum. I'm just going to put a tiny little layer of this underneath my eyes. I really like this product because it just helps prep the under eye area for concealer, especially if you're using a fuller coverage concealer or a heavier concealer. It can kind of, I don't know necessarily that dilute it down is the right word, but it'll just help it blend a little better. It'll help sheer it out. It'll help it blend into the skin. Okay, so I'm going to press that underneath my eye. I'm going to go ahead and clean my hands off before I get this concealer all over myself. I'll be right back. Okay, so nothing on the skin. Under eye area is prepped and ready. So let's go ahead and go into the product. Now, yeah, it's I can already tell right away that it's a really thick consistency. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Shape Tape in a sense, being the applicator, the consistency of the concealer. Okay, so I want to be real careful that I don't apply too much. Knowing that it's pretty full coverage, I could tell right off, on my hand that it was definitely more coverage than other concealers that I use. I don't want to apply too much. I'm going to use the BK Beauty 108 brush to blend this in. This has kind of been my go-to concealer brush, even though it wasn't designed for a concealer brush. I really love it. It just blends it out so quick and easy. And because it's fluffier, it really does a good job of blending out. Okay, so it definitely gives pretty good coverage. I don't feel like I used much at all, and it definitely brightened and colored under the eye. It was pretty easy to blend with this brush. I'm going to try the other side with a sponge so we can see the difference. Okay, I like the way that blended out. tend to dry down really quickly. Yeah, it definitely has a very, very matte finish. Okay, I'm gonna let that kind of set for a second. Let's go ahead and move on to the other eye. Okay, and because I'm gonna use a sponge, I'm actually gonna take my finger to kind of spread the product out a little more. Wow, okay, yeah, that definitely offers full coverage. Let's go ahead and blend it in with the sponge. So this eye, I applied a little bit more product, but because I'm using a sponge, my thought is that the coverage will be about the same. No, actually I got more coverage on this side, so I'll have to even things out. All right, I'm gonna add a tiny bit on this side just to even things out, and also take a little bit on the eyelid because I did apply a little bit on this eyelid and not the other. I'm gonna put it on my hand though because I don't wanna get too much. So I'm just gonna go from my hand with the sponge. It's doing a nice job of priming the eyelid. It really cancels out any darkness on the lid. I don't think that I would need to put an eye primer on. Perfect. Okay, next I'm just gonna take it and apply it in some areas of the face and really blend it out. Obviously I don't wanna apply it all over the face. It feels like it would be too heavy of a product to do that, but I'm gonna put a little bit around my nose and we'll just kind of spread it out. Maybe we'll use a little bit of the foundation to kind of mix together to shear it out. Okay, there's a little bit here on my cheeks where I have a little redness. Okay, and I'm gonna take a little bit on my forehead, a little bit on my nose. Okay, now I'm gonna use the BK Beauty 108 brush. They do describe this as a blurring concealer, so I assume that means it's gonna blur texture in the skin like pores or fine lines, make things look a little softer. Oh, that looks nice. That actually did kind of blur the texture on my forehead. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit on my chin as well. Just a little dot, and then I'll blend it out. So it blends into the skin really nicely. I think I picked the perfect color. It really just blends in and disappears. Even though I didn't apply it all over my face, I can't really tell where it stops and where it starts, which is nice. I didn't expect that. Yeah, okay. So wow, I feel like the skin looks concealed, but still really natural. I don't feel like things look heavy. I don't feel like I need much more coverage at all. I mean, I feel like I could even skip foundation, to be totally honest, but I am gonna film a couple other videos today, and for that reason, I'm gonna apply a little bit of foundation, but here is what the concealer looks like on its own. It actually looks more natural than I expected it. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a pretty thick texture, and I was worried it was gonna look real heavy, being that it was so full coverage. But it looks good. I think it looks good, and I do think it did soften and blur the texture in my skin. I have some texture on my forehead that tends to be a little drier, and then on my cheeks, of course, the pores, but it looks good. I think it looks really natural, but it gives good coverage. Okay, next I'm gonna take a little bit of my IT Cosmetics foundation, the Your Skin But Better. This is their newer one, and I'm just gonna use my sponge to apply this, just so I don't apply too much. I really just want, again, if I weren't filming today, I probably would skip this altogether, but I want things to be real flawless. I'm gonna try and just apply it in the areas that I didn't apply much concealer. So this is what the skin looks like. I'm gonna go and apply the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. I love this brush. Like, I use it for concealer, I use it for setting powder, and I also use it for cream blush. So we're back. I have all my makeup on. I just took a quick peek in the mirror to see how the concealer looks. Definitely a matte finish. I don't think it looks overly drying under my eyes at this point. It does have a drier consistency to it. Initially, it's kind of sticky and tacky, but it does have a drier matte look to it. So if you have really dry under eye area, or you know that, you know, every matte finish concealer that you've tried you have not liked, this probably isn't going to be the one for you. As far as the coverage, it's definitely a full coverage concealer. I was very conservative with how much I put underneath my eyes. I have good coverage under my eyes. I don't feel like I need any more, but I'm curious to see if I add a little bit, how that will look if it'll look too heavy, because it doesn't look heavy underneath my eyes right now. It does not look heavy. I was expecting it to, it's not. So, and now I have blush on my concealer brush. I'm just gonna use this as the Persona little dual-ended brush. I'm gonna see if I do layer it to get full coverage underneath the eye, if it looks heavy. Okay, yeah, that's definitely more coverage. Okay, I actually like that better. More coverage, brighter under the eye. It does look smooth. It doesn't look drying at this point, but again, we're gonna test this, wear this throughout the day. I'm gonna do some check-ins later so we can really see how this concealer is standing up throughout the day. So currently it is 10:15 a.m., so I'll be doing a couple of check-ins today, and yeah, we'll see how this wears. Hey friends, so it is just before 3 p.m. So what is that? It's a little over 4 hours that I've had the makeup on, and I wanted to give you guys an update. I'm actually in a really good lighting right now. I'm standing in front of our best window in the house, so things are looking better than they actually do. Let me find another plate. Let's go walk around. See that window? It's so good at the light there. See, isn't that amazing? I mean, let's look here. Look at this. Ooh, and then so funny how lighting is, and that's all natural light. Anyhow, I wanted to take you guys, let me take you over here because I want y'all to really see how things are looking. Okay, so it's not looking too great. It's not looking too great. I just looked in the mirror. My makeup is transferring some on it, and I do feel like it's a little drier. Like, granted, I am squinching here trying to kind of create those lines, but do you see, even like when I do that and then I let go, you can still see those lines there. So, and then my makeup is smearing in it. So it also doesn't appear to have as much coverage as it did earlier when I first applied it. So at this point, I don't think it's looking so great. I don't think it's looking so great. I will continue to check in, and I will do I think I have my alarm set at 6:30 to check in with you guys again. So another 3 hours or so, but yeah, here it looks great, doesn't it? How funny. And then when we get over here, not so much. Hey friends, it's 8:30 p.m. so I've had the concealer on now for about 10 hours. I'm gonna zoom you guys in so we can check it out and see how it's looking. Okay, so I did peek in the mirror before I started filming, of course, and I really didn't see much of a change from my last check-in, which was, what's that? About 3 o'clock, so it's been, a good 5 hours, and I really haven't seen any change since then, so that's a good thing. I kind of expected it to look a lot worse than it does at this point. However, I don't think that it looks great. I think my overall thoughts on this concealer, I do like the way that it looks on the skin. I think that I like it on the face a little bit better than underneath the eyes, and I'm going to tell you why. So if you look underneath my eyes right now, if I give even the slightest bit of expression, any fine lines that I have under the eyes are much more pronounced with this concealer because it is a matte finish. It's just going to do that. It's a drier formula, so it's going to kind of accentuate any texture that you have. And honestly, I don't even really notice these fine lines most days, but I do notice them today. I don't think the coverage under my eye really lasted. I do think that it was fuller coverage this morning when I applied it, but as the day progressed, it seems to have kind of faded some because I can see through it. I don't have that coverage anymore. It did kind of get real messy with my shadow and liner that I had below my lower lash line. So that's one kind of ding. Overall, I think this concealer would be great for someone who likes a more matte, heavier concealer under the eyes. If you have any texture, fine lines, wrinkles, anything under the eye that you are, more conscious of, this is probably going to magnify it. I don't really love it underneath the eyes, but on the skin, I think it looks great. I do think it's a really great concealer for the days that you want to wear maybe more spot conceal on the skin, and then maybe mix a tinted moisturizer or a lighter weight foundation, or just cut back the amount of foundation that you use. I was really impressed with how it blended into the skin pretty seamlessly and you couldn't see it. I really liked the way that it looked on the face. So that's kind of my thoughts on this concealer. I'm going to continue to give it another try. I'll be wearing it some more this week. I'll leave any updates in a pinned comment here on this video as I wear it this week if I notice any other observations. But as of this day one wear test, those are my thoughts. If you've tried this concealer, I would love to know what you guys think. So yeah, the search for the Holy Grail concealer still moves on. There are definitely some that I love, but we're just going to keep searching for that Holy Grail concealer. I would love to know what your holy grail concealer is and why. Why is it your holy grail, and what maybe what type of skin you have as well, because again, really oily skin, you might like this. Really dry or textured under eyes, you probably wouldn't enjoy this product. So anyway, that's my review. I hope you guys found it helpful. I am going to get to bed early tonight. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.